Yo! Anybody that has been watching my channel for a while knows for a fact that I love two things in this world, and that is Nicolas Cage and all of his movies, and Dead by Daylight. Well, love-hate relationship, I guess. Sometimes I do rage quit. I've never left a game mid-game, but I have almost thrown my controller because, well, honestly, Megs make me mad. But that's not what this video is about today. Today, we're going to be talking about kind of a mixture of both of them. We have just something that Dead by Daylight did that shocked the world, shook the entire foundation that humanity stands upon, and that is making a chapter DLC, one survivor, but it's a real person. And it was Nicolas Cage, and it's still my main to this day. Nicolas Cage will never not be my main, to be honest. Even with Orella coming in, I love her. She's definitely my secondary main. It honestly, top 3 mains for Survivor at least, goes Nick Cage, Orella, and then Vittorio. It used to be Nick, Vittorio, and then David Tapp, or Detective Tapp, yeah, whatever his name is. But now it's, just straight up the, Nick, Orella, and then Vittorio. But that's besides the point. That's all besides the point. Today we're going to be talking about real people I think should come into Dead by Daylight. Now, some of you may be like, oh, this is a weird topic. Why are you talking about real people that should come in? That's a little bit weird. Like, yeah, Nicolas Cage was a fun meme chapter or whatever, but who really cares? To be honest, I care a lot. The horror genre has a lot of people who have actually helped, and the Dead by Daylight genre, or not genre, the Dead by Daylight community has a few people that are extremely big, and honestly, there's only one of them that I watch, and yes, that one person is in this video, but there's also a whole bunch of people from the actual horror genre, the online horror realm. I'm pretty sure if you've watched my channel, you probably watch this other channel that one or two people from is probably going to show up in this video, and these real people could show up as survivors or killers, and I will specify which one as I go on with the video. So yeah, you got killers and survivors to look forward to. So yeah, without any further ado, let's just jump right into this video with intro. Intro. Drop it down. Word to your mother. Clive Barker. Now, normally on a list of basically anything, Clive Barker would be way higher, for me at least, but yeah, he's just, I don't think every single person knows him, especially the Dead by Daylight people, but I think Clive Barker as a killer or survivor would be awesome. Killer seems like his type of style though, but this is like almost completely like never gonna happen, just because he came and got the rights back to Hellraiser and everything, Hellbound Heart and As It Were, all of that type of stuff, and then took it off of Dead by Daylight. I'm fairly certain it might have just been him going in and being like, I don't even know what this is, and then taking it off, because that seems like something a creator would do. Like, if they don't understand what this type of video game is or whatever, they'd be like, I don't really feel like having it on there. But yeah, the reason Pinhead was on there is because the other people owned it at the time, but then they lost the rights. I'm fairly certain it's because they didn't make a movie within the year, because if you don't know, the Hellraiser movies only got a ton of movies because they had to make one every single year, or they would lose the film rights, which, yeah, got us a lot of horrible movies, but whatever. Yeah, Clive Barker is like my favorite writer ever, let alone horror writer. He's just amazing at writing, and like a huge inspiration for me as a writer, and just everything I do, like my art, my writing, literally everything is inspired in some part by his stuff. So yeah, I think it would be really cool to see him in this, just because he's like my personal hero about stuff like this, and he's a huge part of the horror genre. Number 9 would absolutely be John Carpenter. John Carpenter, killer or survivor, don't even care. It would just be so good. He is sometimes called the father of horror. He's always called the father of Halloween. If you don't know John Carpenter, he made Halloween, Big Trouble in Little China, The Thing, like my favorite movie of all time. He made The Fog, which I've also been meaning to make a fan-made chapter over. But yeah, he made so many amazing horror films, and just amazing films in general, And I mean, seriously, Escape from New York is also his. If you know who Snake, if you know Snake from Metal Gear Solid, then you absolutely know basically who Snake Plissken is. Yeah, Snake is very very much inspired by Snake Plissken. So yeah, like all of the stuff he makes is absolute gold. And honestly, I think it would just be really cool to see him because he's my favorite director of all time. Well, he's top three at least. Yeah, definitely top three. But yeah, he's just such a huge part of the horror friend, like just genre in general, especially movie on the movie side. He's just so cool, and it would be so cool to see him in it. Like, yeah, I know I'm nerd. This is basically just me geeking out about people, but yeah, he's a huge part of the horror genre. It would be really cool to see. Tom Atkins is definitely another one that I'm kind of just a huge fangirl over. But yeah, he's a huge part in a whole bunch of movies. He's in The Fog, he's in Night of the Creeps, he's in the first Maniac Cop, and then he ends up dying halfway through. And Bruce Campbell takes over, and then in the second one, Bruce Campbell gets automatically killed. Or is he in the second one? I can't really remember, to be honest. But yeah, Tom Atkins, amazing actor. He's in Halloween 3, one of my favorite Halloween movies. Please don't crucify me for saying that. I think Halloween 3 is a really fun, really good movie, and I think that it's really cool that John Carpenter is actually coming back to do an anthology series, apparently. It's called Haddonfield, and it's going to be a full-on anthology series like he wanted to do from the very beginning. It's going to be really cool. I hope Tom Atkins is in that. Speaking of anthology stories, he's also in Creepshow, either 1 or 2. I think it's 1, and he's just the dad in the... I think he's the dad in the little piece of... Man, the thing that keeps all the anthology stories together, like shows you how they stitch together and everything. He's the one that gets killed by the voodoo doll. He's a really good actor and a very, very big part of horror. Not mainstream horror, but much more just 80s pulp horror and stuff like that. Honestly, if I ever made a horror movie, I would have to get Tom Atkins in on it. Like, he's one actor that I would genuinely I'd die to work with. Oh my god, he's such a good actor. But yeah, I think he would be amazing in this. You would have so many different skins from so many different movies. It'd be sick. Joe Bob Briggs is up next, and if you don't know who that is, you should go to Shudder and watch some of his series. He's really funny. He's basically just a country version of Elvira, I think is the best way of putting it, because he hosts his own show where they watch horror movies, and then there's little interruptions with him talking about it and everything. It's basically just Elvira, but it's Joe Bob Briggs. He's actually really cool and really funny. I love watching Joe Bob Briggs so much, and I've seen so many cool horror movies just from watching his show, and it's just, I don't know, it's really cool. I like people who just are cool people and watch cool movies. It's basically a YouTube movie review before the movie reviews. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's just like, it feels like a pre-reckoning of something like that. Like, they set up the stuff so that YouTube could take it over or something. But yeah, Joe Bob Briggs is really funny. The voice lines would probably be sick, and I know this is only one picture of him, but there are so many skins they could do just of stuff he's worn on the show. He is like very, very cowboy. Like, he wears like the brightest colors ever. Dude, his skins would go hard, is what I'm saying. Joe Bob Briggs, absolutely sick. And they could give him a young skin, since he's been around, since like the 80s, I think. Yeah, his show's been on since the 80s, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, Joe Bob Briggs has been on air for a very long time, and it's really cool that Shudder came back and like took it over and everything. I love Joe Bob Briggs. It would be really cool to see him. The voice lines would be hilarious. This is gonna be weird to some of you, but I think R.L. Stine as a killer would be really cool. Just him using his books and everything, kind of like the Goosebumps movies with Jack Black, where he had the books and he could bring them to life and everything. I think that would be really cool. Maybe make him kind of like the Knight or like the Lich, to where he can switch between which one is which. Do the giant Venus flytrap that it can destroy the pallets instead of him having to, or do the praying mantis, the giant praying mantis. They could do the super mutant. No one likes that story, but, like, everyone hates on it all the time. I don't know why, but they could do that. They could do a whole bunch of stuff, and just his really no matter what he talks about, if you listen to the interviews and stuff with him, no matter what he talks about, he's like super monotone and calm. So him like hitting a survivor and being like, yeah, you're gonna die now, would be the funniest thing ever, dude. Just the most monotone voice ever, being like, yeah, I'm gonna murder you. That dude, I would love that so much. And honestly, I just think it'd be a really cool concept. It'd be really cool to see the Goosebumps movies and everything, or not even just movies, just books. Like every single person has grown up with Goosebumps for ever at this point. Goosebumps is insanely popular. Like the books, the movies, the series. The series is so good. But I think he definitely deserves to be in this game just because Dead by Daylight is kind of being pointed towards more younger audience at this point than a older one. So I think a Goosebumps, like people who like Dead by Daylight are probably in the age to where they would think this is the coolest thing ever. To where like if they Orlstein came in, they'd be like, holy crap, I used to love Goosebumps, or maybe some of them still do. I mean, I'm not ashamed to say I still bust out a Goosebumps book every once in a while. I love Goosebumps. But before we go on with this video, it is time for an ad. Because yeah, I'm sponsored now, so sit there and watch this and then follow the instructions. You heard the man. You should totally go to www.w.gg and use code VOIDE247 for 10% off. It's really cool. It's a powder energy drink, and they have a solo leveling collab going on right now. It's really cool. They got a whole bunch of cool shakers, is what they call them, but they're just cups that you can use for literally anything. It's really good. It tastes good. It's healthier than everything else. It's cooler than everything else. And you know what? I think you should use it because it helps out the channel. So go ahead and do that if you want to, or don't. Whatever. You'd be missing out, but, you know, whatever. Be weirdos if you want to, nerds. Okay, back to the... Okay, I had all these pictures for this video spread out to where it wouldn't be YouTubers all in one section, actors all in one section, directors, writers, everything like that all in one section. But I forgot about this guy and skipped him completely. I'm so sorry. Yeah, Zoran Govovich from the Dead Meat channel would be the perfect survivor. And I feel like you know who's gonna be in this later, and probably know exactly what they're gonna be in the game is what I'm gonna say they should be, at least. Yeah. Zoran would definitely be the survivor in this chapter that I'm gonna go ahead and pitch. Yeah, another YouTuber was supposed to be next, but I'll just go ahead and tell you what I think this chapter should be. Zoran as the survivor, because I don't know, he'd be surviving, you know what I mean? I don't know, man. He'd just be cool to see as a survivor. And the killer for this chapter would definitely be the most obvious one, which is James A. Janice from Dead Meat. Yeah, I've grown up with Dead Meat, like, since I had YouTube. Yeah, I've been watching him since the Friday the 13th videos and everything. I love Dead Meat. Absolutely love this channel. Yeah, I don't know. Well, horror stuff. Always loved horror movies and such. And Dead Meat is cool. So, yeah, James as a killer would be sick, and Zoran as a survivor would be obvious. Come on, guys. Only a true fan would think of that. Yeah, James as a killer, like, this is the only one I would actually want to see as a chapter, like a full-on chapter. Give you James as a killer, Chelsea as a skin, and then Business James as a skin, too. And then whatever else. Dude, that'd be so sick. So cool. His power could be called the Golden Chainsaw. Just don't make it an actual chainsaw, because I'm sick of chainsaw killers at this point. And then his weapon could be the dull machete. That would be sick. See, behavior needs to hire me, because that would be sick. I'm the idea man, and they can actually make my ideas something good and usable. Okay, yeah, this absolutely. I went way out of order to talk about this chapter idea, but this is like, I've got more. That's all I'm going to say in this video. I'll save my true genius for later. I'm going to skip around in the list that I had again, because that was 2 YouTubers in a row, and the other dude that I have is also a YouTuber. So I'm going to try and keep it not all in one thing. And I'm trying to keep it to people who are actually important to the horror genre as a whole, and people who are important to the Dead by Daylight genre. And the last person is basically that, because, well, honestly, he's the only Dead by Daylight YouTuber that I actually watch. Yeah, Elvira is the next one, because I'm switching up the list and everything. Elvira would just be cool. She's like a super famous horror icon, and she's a real person. Well, I mean, a real person playing Elvira, but they act like Elvira is the real person, so it's fine. I can't remember her name. What is it? I cannot remember the person who plays Elvira's name, but whatever. Yeah, Elvira would be her though, so whatever. It'd be a Joe Bob Briggs type of situation because, like I said, they're basically the same show, just hosts that watch horror movies and make fun of them or do little jabs at them. It's basically the same thing. Her skins would definitely go a lot harder than Joe Bob Briggs though, because he's all cowboy and everything. Dude, she slays in every single outfit. The like 4th of July one with the red sparkles and everything would go so hard, dude. The people would buy all of the Elvira skins, I'm telling you right now. And she could honestly be a killer or survivor. I think survivor would be better though. Maybe killer. She is like a witch in the movie. That's such a good movie. If you haven't seen the Elvira like movie, you should watch that. Okay, we are doing one more YouTuber, and because I don't want to put the next person in between, because he is actually my first place, like full stop. He is the one that I would love to see. But yeah, the King is the only Dead by Daylight YouTuber I watch. I think his voice lines would be pretty funny, and I think he could come up with some cool skins for it. That's basically it. I mean, he's a Dead by Daylight YouTuber. I wanted to do at least one person who does Dead by Daylight, and I think it would be cool to have a survivor that geeks out about Dead by Daylight and like stuff like that. Maybe someone who takes the energy of an average Dead by Daylight player, and every time someone misses a skill check next to him, he screams at them or something. I think that would be really funny and pretty cool. I don't know, just a nod to the actual fan base, and giving literally any Dead by Daylight YouTuber could be in this place though, just to give the same vibes though, but this is the only one I watch, so he gets here in this list. The number one spot in this list has to go to Tom Savini. There are so many horror actors, directors, writers, basically anything that are important to the genre, but the one man that is consistently important to every single horror movie that I would put up in the top of my list, or just in the top of literally any list, is Tom Savini. If you don't know who he is, he's a makeup artist. He did the makeup for the Friday the 13th movies. Man, he's done so much. Creep Show, he did Maniac. If you haven't seen Maniac, you should definitely watch that. Man, he's just done makeup for so many different movies. Honestly, Tom Savini and Screaming Mad George, I'm pretty sure is his name. Screaming Man George? Screaming whatever his name is. He did Society, are the only two makeup artists I see like consistently get talked about, and I think that Tom Savini would be so cool in this. I just wanted to give the other one a shout out because I love the movie Society, and everyone that's listening to this should definitely go and watch it. Don't look up any pictures of it. Just go into it not knowing what happens and watch it, please. But yeah, Tom Savini is just so cool, and they could do so many different skins. The skin from Dusk Till Dawn, where he has the penis gun, would go so hard. Just give him the cock gun, where it's like the revolver with the two balls as the chambers, and it like shoots like from his crotch. Dude, that would go so hard. Oh my god, that movie's so good. They could do that. They could do him from Maniac. I think, dude, just so many good skins, so much cool stuff you could do, and he's like I said, he's a huge part of the horror genre. I mean, seriously, listen to me. I'm geeking out harder about him than I did about John Carpenter. I don't know why. It might be. I used to really, really want to be a makeup artist until I figured out that it's hard. But yeah, he is definitely number one, and I think if they made another chapter that is a real person, and even if they wanted to make it another meme chapter, like the Nicolas Cage one was, I think he would be number one on every single person's list if you're a horror fan, and even if you're not, he would probably come with some pretty good perks and everything. So I don't know. If you're an actual like really deep dive type of horror fan, you'd probably want Tom Savini. And if you're someone who's just a fan of horror in general, you'd honestly probably want James A. Janiste in this list. Like, to be honest, because Dead Meat is definitely like, whenever I was in school, I loved horror movies. Everyone thought I was a weirdo for it, and I told them to suck it because they're all losers that don't understand true art. I mean, seriously, I watched the movie Maniac and came out of it a new man. I was like, oh, that was a beautiful film, better than the Mona Lisa. But yeah, everyone watched Dead Meat and then started acting like they were horror fans. Made me so mad. I'm still salty about that. But yeah, it's honestly just whatever your taste is. But for me, Tom Savini's number one, and then James O'Genius after that, honestly, or Joe Bob Briggs. Joe Bob Briggs would be really, really good. I think that would be a really cool chapter. But yeah, this is definitely number one. I'm gonna stop geeking out now and just go into the whatever it's called, not the intro, the exit-tro. Welcome to the outro. My fiance had to tell me what the word was. Yeah. Like, subscribe, all that type of stuff. If you like this video, crap. Well, yeah, if you like this video, do everything I just said. You know what to do. It's YouTube. Do all the YouTube things. And definitely, like the ad said, go to www.w.gg for 10% off if you use my code, VOIDE247. You know what the code is. You watched the ad, didn't you? I'm pretty sure I told you I would kill you in your sleep if you didn't, so I hope you did. I can't keep buying so many pillows, okay? Okay. Like, subscribe, all that type of stuff. See you.